I met Robert Henley 3 months ago at a diner in Forks, Washington. He's 81 years old, drives a 1982 Ford pickup, still lives alone in the same cabin he built in 1976. And for the past 47 years, he's had regular conversations with a creature that speaks broken English and remembers every act of human violence committed against its kind going back 200 years. Robert showed me photographs, dozens of them, Polaroids from the 70s and 80s, digital photos from the 2000s, all showing the same being, 9 feet tall, aging slowly. But what stopped my heart wasn't the creature itself. It was what Robert had written on the back of the oldest photo. A quote, in handwriting that was shaky, like he'd been crying when he wrote it. "They don't fear us because we're dangerous. They fear us because we're creative about it. My name is Michael Torres, and I'm a documentary filmmaker." I went to Forks to interview Robert for a project about Pacific Northwest folklore. What I got instead was the most disturbing story I've ever heard. Not about monsters, about us, and what we're capable of when no one's watching. Let's begin. Robert's story starts in August 1977. He was 29 years old, fresh out of the Navy, trying to build a new life in the Olympic Peninsula. He'd bought 20 acres of forested land near the Hoh rainforest for almost nothing. Isolated, no road access, just a logging trail that barely qualified as drivable. "I wanted quiet," Robert told me, his coffee going cold between his weathered hands. "After 6 years on destroyers and aircraft carriers, I needed a place where the only sound was trees, so I built a cabin, off-grid, solar panels and a well, just me and the forest. For the first year, it was perfect, exactly what he needed. He'd spent his days building, hunting, fishing, his nights reading by lamplight, no TV, no radio, just peace. Until October 1977, when he found the arrangement. I'd gone into town for supplies, Robert said. 3 days. When I got back, there was something on my porch. At first, I thought it was a hunter playing a prank, but it was too deliberate. He showed me a Polaroid. The photo was faded, colors washed out by decades, but I could see it clearly. A circle of river stones, maybe 4 feet in diameter, and in the center, a deer skull, perfectly clean, positioned facing the cabin door. Not a threat, Robert explained. A message. Someone, something was saying, "We know you're here, we're watching, this is our territory too." He'd left the arrangement untouched, watched it from his window. 2 days later, at dawn, he saw who'd left it. I thought it was a bear at first, standing upright, but bears don't stand that tall, don't move that deliberately, and they sure as hell don't arrange deer skulls in perfect circles. Robert had grabbed his rifle, stepped onto the porch. The creature was maybe 70 yards away, at the tree line, watching. They stared at each other for what Robert said felt like an eternity. Then the creature did something that changed everything. It raised one hand, slowly, palm out, and it spoke. One word, broken, struggling, but unmistakable. Peace. Robert's rifle had dropped from his hands, clattered on the porch boards. "I thought I was losing my mind," he said, staring into his coffee. "Thought maybe I'd been alone too long, had some kind of breakdown, but then it spoke again. No, shoot, peace." The creature turned and walked back into the forest, moving on 2 legs, moving like a person. Robert didn't sleep for 3 days. The second encounter happened a month later, November 1977. Robert had left food at the tree line. Venison from a deer he'd taken. He didn't know why. Maybe curiosity, maybe an apology for being scared, maybe just loneliness. The food was gone by morning, and there was something new in its place. A bundle of medicinal plants, the kind the old Quileute healers used, carefully tied with grass. The creature was teaching him. I understand reciprocity. I understand respect. Over the next 6 months, this became their routine. Robert would leave food. The creature would leave gifts, useful plants, interesting stones. Once, a perfectly preserved hawk feather. And slowly, incrementally, the creature came closer. By summer of 1978, Robert could see him clearly, could document him with his Polaroid camera. The creature allowed it, seemed to understand what the camera was, would even pose sometimes, stand still, let Robert capture the impossible. Robert named him Samuel, because in one of their early exchanges, the creature had made a sound that Robert interpreted as Samuel, his attempt at his own name, what his own kind called him. And Samuel could talk, not fluently, not easily, but he could communicate, in broken English, mixed with his own language, a series of clicks, hums, and deep vocalizations that Robert slowly learned to interpret. "How long have you been learning English?" Robert had asked one evening in September 1978. Samuel had thought for a long moment, then held up fingers, struggling with the concept. Finally, many seasons, 60, maybe more, 60 years. Samuel had been listening to humans for 60 years, learning, studying, preparing for a conversation he thought might never happen. "Why wait so long?" Robert had asked. "Why not speak to someone sooner?" Samuel's response haunted Robert for decades. Tried once, long ago. Man with kind eyes. Gave him food, spoke, few words. Samuel had paused, touched the scars on his chest. Old, deep, puckered. He came back with others, with guns, with dogs, with rage. "They shot you. Shot me, chased me for days, for pleasure, not food, not defense, for sport." Samuel had looked at Robert with those amber eyes and said something that made Robert's blood run cold. "You hunt animals, to eat, understand, need food, but they hunted me to prove, to show others, to mount to my head shit on wall. That's why you're afraid of us. Not afraid. Careful. Learn. You are not one thing. Some humans and cruel, some humans and kind, but cruel ones, always louder, always find us." Over the next 2 years, Robert and Samuel built something unprecedented, a genuine friendship across species. They'd sit together in the clearing behind Robert's cabin. Robert would tell stories about his time in the Navy, about cities and oceans and the world beyond the forest. And Samuel would tell stories about his world, his people, and the long, bloody history of human contact. "We were many," Samuel said one night in 1980. "When your people first came, thousands, families, communities, we lived in deep places, high mountains, old forests, stayed away. Watched you from distance. What changed? You came deeper, cut trees, built roads. We moved further back, but always you followed. Some of us tried contact, tried trade, tried peace." Samuel had shown Robert something that night. Scars Robert had noticed but never asked about. On Samuel's left hand, 2 fingers were missing, clean cuts, healed decades ago. What happened? 1953, near Mount Rainier. I was young, foolish, saw human camp, family, children playing. I watched, fascinated, wanted to understand. Left gift, berries, in their camp. They saw you. Father saw me. I raised hand, tried peace, tried words I learned. He smiled, said, "Stay," said, "My children want to see." Samuel had stayed, had let himself be seen, had let the children approach. For one beautiful moment he'd thought maybe things could be different. Then Mother screamed. Father grabbed axe. I ran. He chased, caught my hand. In tent rope, he swung axe, took fingers, said, "Proof," said, "Trophy." Robert had felt sick. "Jesus Christ, Samuel. Not worst. Burned my arm. With torch. While I was caught. Children watched, learned. Monsters can be hurt. Learned. Fun to hurt them." Samuel had looked at Robert. "That father?" Told story. In town. At bar. About thing he fought. Laughed. Showed. My fingers. In jar. Said he was hero. How many others?" Robert had asked quietly. "How many of your people have stories like that?" "All of us. Everyone who lived long enough has scars from humans. Not all same cruelty, but all same lesson." "What lesson?" "Humans fear what they don't understand. But worse, humans enjoy what they fear. Hunt it, hurt it, prove they're stronger." The conversations continued for years. Decades. Robert documented everything, notes, photos, tape recordings of Samuel's voice as his English slowly improved, and Samuel told him things. Things that made Robert understand why Bigfoot hides, why they vanish when humans approach, why they'll probably never reveal themselves to the world. It wasn't just about survival. It was about learned trauma, generational trauma passed down through collective memory. My grandmother, Samuel said one night in 1985, was captured, 1890s, Montana, white men, with nets, with ropes, put her in cage, took her to city, Denver. They put her in a zoo. Worse, traveling show. She was 17, adolescent. They called her the Wild Woman of the Mountains, made her perform, dance, rage at bars. People paid to see, to throw food, to laugh. Robert's hands had been shaking as he wrote this down. She was there, 4 years, in cage, in shows, until she got sick, pneumonia. They let her die, through body, in river. No burial, no dignity. But how do you know all this? If she died, another one was there, male, in different cage. He watched, remembered. When show moved cities, he escaped, told others. We remember, we always remember. Samuel had touched his own chest. We teach young ones, show scars, tell stories, not to make afraid, to make careful, to make wise. Over the years, Samuel shared more stories, a horrifying catalogue of human cruelty. A young female shot in 1932 by loggers near Bellingham, not killed, wounded. They'd followed her for 3 days, tracking blood, making it last. When they finally killed her, they'd posed with the body, taken photographs, tried to sell them to newspapers. A family group in 1956, Colorado. Forest Service had gotten reports of ape-like creatures near a campground. They'd brought in hunters, professional trackers, dogs, hunted them for sport, killed 3, a mother and 2 adolescents, left the bodies to rot, took hair samples as evidence. A juvenile in 1968, California, captured by a logging company foreman who wanted to prove they exist. It kept in a reinforced shed for 6 weeks, fed scraps, showed to his friends. The creature had died from stress and malnutrition. The foreman had burned the body, told his buddies to keep it quiet. Why didn't anyone ever come forward? Robert had asked. Why didn't anyone expose these people? Some tried, Samuel said. Authorities didn't believe, said mistaken identity, said no proof. And the men who did it, they knew. Nobody would believe, knew. They could hide behind skepticism. Samuel had looked at Robert with those ancient eyes. Your species, brilliant at denial. See something impossible? Explain it away. Find comfortable lie, because truth is too disturbing. Means your neighbors, your heroes, might be monsters. The darkest story Samuel told came in 1994. My brother, Samuel said quietly, younger, always curious, always thought maybe some humans different, maybe could trust. What happened? 1987, he approached cabin, Oregon. Man lived alone. Old man, seemed kind. My brother left gifts. Man left food. They built what you and I have, trust. Robert had felt his stomach drop. He knew where this was going. Man was sick, cancer. My brother brought medicine, plants, tried to help. Man got better, thanked him, said, you are miracle. Then man died, natural, old age. My brother mourned, thought he had friend. Samuel's voice had cracked, something Robert had never heard before. Man's son came to cabin, found father's journals, photos of my brother. Son didn't see friendship, saw opportunity, saw fame, money. He published them, tried. Contacted TV stations, tabloids. Most didn't believe, but some came to Forest to look, with cameras, with guns, with hunters. They found your brother. He tried to hide, but they had photos, knew his patterns, his territory. They set traps, steel, cruel, caught his leg, heard him, screaming, from 5 miles away. Robert had stopped writing, could barely hold the pen. I ran, others ran, found him. Trap had destroyed leg, bone crushed. We freed him, carried him to deep forest. Safe place. Did he survive? Samuel's silence was answer enough. He died. 3 days later. Infection. Pain. He kept saying, I trusted, I tried. Died, thinking he was wrong. That all humans, cruel. Samuel had looked at Robert. You are only human. I told this story. Only one. I trust to understand. Your species took my brother. With kindness first, then with cruelty. But cruelty always wins. Always finds us. I sat in that diner with Robert for 6 hours. He showed me everything. The photos, the journals, the recordings of Samuel's voice, halting, broken, but unmistakably intelligent, unmistakably a person. Why are you showing me this? I'd asked. Why now, after 47 years of keeping it secret? Robert had looked at his hands, weathered, spotted with age, 81 years old. Because I'm dying, he said simply. Pancreatic cancer, stage 4. I've got maybe 6 months. And when I'm gone, Samuel will have no one again. 47 years of friendship gone. He'll be alone again. Can't you introduce him to someone else? Someone you trust? I've tried. He won't allow it. Says the risk is too high. Says, you are the exception, not the rule. And he's right. Robert had slid an envelope across the table. Inside was a note, handwritten. The letters formed carefully, slowly. It was from Samuel. Robert told me he is dying. I am sad. He was good human, kind human. Proved not all are cruel. But when he is gone, I will go deep, into wilderness, where no human can follow, where no camera can find, where I can die in peace. I do not hate you, your species. I pity you. You are brilliant, beautiful, capable of great kindness, but also great cruelty, and you cannot help it. It is your nature. We will disappear, all of us. Not because you hunt us, because we cannot bear to watch anymore, cannot bear seeing what you do to each other, to us, to your world. When stories of us become only myths, you will have won. Not because you destroyed us, because you made existing near you impossible. Tell this story if you wish. I do not care. No one will believe. They never do. Proof means nothing when people choose not to see. Goodbye. Thank you for teaching Robert kindness. He taught it to me. I will remember. Samuel. I'd sat there staring at the note, at the careful handwriting, at the intelligence and sadness in every word. When did he give you this? Last week. We met at our usual spot. 47 years, same place, same time, every Thursday evening. He knew this would be one of our last meetings. So he wrote this. Spent hours forming the letters, learning to hold the pencil. He wanted me to have something that proved it was real. Have you seen him since? No. I went to our meeting spot this Thursday. He didn't come. Left a gift, though. Like always. Robert had pulled something from his pocket. A small carved figure. Wood. Primitive but recognizable. 2 beings, one tall, one human-sized, sitting together. 47 years of Thursdays, and now he's saying goodbye. 3 weeks after meeting Robert, I got a call from Forks Hospital. Robert had been admitted. The cancer had progressed faster than expected. He was asking for me. I drove 7 hours, got there at 2 a.m. Robert was awake, lucid, but fading. Did you tell the story? His voice was barely a whisper. I'm trying. But Robert, who's going to believe this? Without proof, without... The proof doesn't matter. He gripped my hand. Surprisingly strong. What matters is someone knows, someone heard, someone carries the story. What story? That Bigfoot exists? People won't. Not that story. Robert's eyes were fierce, clear. The story of what we do when we think no one's watching, when we find something beautiful and rare and we destroy it. Not for food, not for defense, for pride, for proof, for fun. He coughed, struggled, then continued. Samuel told me everything, 47 years of stories, and you know what the worst part is? I believe every single one. Because I've seen what humans do to each other, to animals, to anything different. We're not all... I know. That's why Samuel trusted me, because rare humans can be kind, can be gentle, can see something mysterious and not need to capture it, study it, kill it. Robert's grip weakened. Promise me, promise you'll tell this story, not to prove Bigfoot exists, but to ask why they hide, what we did to make them afraid. I promise. He smiled, closed his eyes. Good, because they're listening. They're always listening. Maybe one of them will hear, will know. Not all humans forgot. Robert died that night, quiet, peaceful. His funeral was small, just a few people from Forks. I was the only one from out of town, but at the cemetery, standing at the tree line about 100 yards away, I saw something, a figure, massive, standing completely still. Watching, I couldn't make out details, too far, too much shadow, but I felt observed, acknowledged. The figure raised one hand, slowly, palm out, then it turned and walked back into the forest. I never saw it again. I'm telling you this story not to prove Bigfoot exists. Honestly, I don't care if you believe me. The photos Robert gave me could be faked. The recordings could be hoaxes. The note from Samuel could be Robert's elaborate fantasy. But I don't think it was. I think Robert spent 47 years with a being we drove into hiding. A being intelligent enough to learn English, compassionate enough to forgive, but traumatized enough to know. Forgiveness isn't enough, because Samuel was right. We are capable of great kindness, but we're also capable of great cruelty. And when it comes to things we don't understand, things that challenge our place in the world, cruelty wins. We don't hunt Bigfoot anymore because they're gone. We hunt them because finding them would mean we're not alone, not apex, not special, and we can't allow that, so they hide. And they watch, and they remember every act of violence we commit, every time we chose cruelty over curiosity, every time we chose proof over peace. Robert's cabin is empty now, up for sale. The land will probably be developed, the forest cleared, the meeting spot paved over, and Samuel is gone. Deep in wilderness we can't reach, dying alone, because trusting humans, even the kind ones, costs too much. Last week, I hiked to Robert's property one last time, to the clearing where he and Samuel met for 47 years. Someone had been there recently. The grass was disturbed, and in the center there was an arrangement, a circle of stones, maybe 4 feet in diameter, and in the middle 2 carved wooden figures, one tall, one human-sized, together. I didn't touch them, didn't photograph them, didn't take them as proof. I just stood there. And I said out loud, "I heard the story, Samuel. I'll remember, I promise." The forest was quiet, but I felt acknowledged, like something was listening, something understood, and that's enough. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. Not to a story about monsters, but a story about us. About what we've done, about what we continue to do when we find something rare and beautiful. If this story made you think about cruelty, not from creatures, but from humans, please hit that like button and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. And ask yourself, if you met something impossible, would you protect it or prove it? If you want more true Bigfoot stories that ask hard questions about humanity, subscribe to Silent Bigfoot Stories and turn on the notification bell. We upload new encounters every week. And remember, just because something hides from us doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Maybe it just knows us too well. Until next time.